Welcome to Soul Seeker. I'm Sam Kabert, and I'll be your guide on this journey. I started the show back in 2019, chasing answers like many of us do. But what I've come to understand is this: it's not the seeking that fulfills us. It's what we find in the quiet stillness beneath the search. When we stop chasing and learn to be with what is, we access a deeper wisdom. One that leads not to more doing, but to ease, grace, joy, and true fulfillment. My mission with this podcast is to help high performers just like yourself to regulate your nervous system, reprogram subconscious patterns, and embody emotional freedom so you can lead with clarity, resilience, and alignment. Welcome to Soul Seeker. Let's grow. What is up, fam, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seeker podcast. I am your host, as always, Sam Kabert, and I am so excited to bring this episode to you guys. It's with my new friend, Jeanene. Jeanene is a absolutely amazing person. Her energy is just infectious. I think this is the most fun I've had on a podcast in a long time. Not only that, but we go super deep too. And I know this is something that I'm super passionate about. And it's like, doing the work doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be challenging. It doesn't have to be difficult. That's a choice. And I'm so excited for you guys to meet Jeanene because 20 years ago, she suffered from MS. That's multiple sclerosis. Hard word for me to pronounce, but I got through it. Anyway, so MS, she was in a wheelchair and she wasn't able to function, to get out of the wheelchair and do stuff on her own. She talks about this in this episode, and she talks about how she's been symptom free for nearly 10 years now and how she teaches other people how they can heal their body. You might be thinking, well, I don't have MS. I'm not familiar with MS, or I don't know any in my life that has MS. If you have any of those thoughts at all, I want you to reframe that and understand that this is so much more about getting in touch with the signals from our body, our nervous system, and learning to connect with our intuition, because pretty much all of us are disconnected from our bodies if we don't intentionally do this work. So I'm like, you can probably hear my voice and my energy because I'm super stoked on it. This is just deeper than the stuff that I know about in terms of healing the body with MS. I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm a huge fan, as you probably are as well, of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. And I've heard of people healing MS, and I think this is just incredible. And the main thing that I got from this is the work that I've been teaching, doing, and facilitating with my clients, and what I wrote about in my last book. It's the process that Jeanene's sharing. So it's more confirmation that this work works on such a deep level to actually heal something as profound and challenging as MS. So that's really cool. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. I know I did. I'm definitely going to have Jeanene back on the podcast for sure. If you're new to the Soul Seeker podcast and you want to get back to the show, best way you can do so is by just leaving a 5-star review. It just helps other people discover the show. And if you want to go deeper with me, join our Breath Club. Every single Wednesday, I lead live free guided breathwork sessions. So if that's interesting to you, just go to the show notes and you can join the Breath Club, and you'll breathe with all of us every Wednesday. And other than that, enjoy this episode with Jeanene. What up, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seeker podcast. We're going to do, as we always do, and ground, and that's just 3 simple breaths. So for my guest, Jeanene, I'm so stoked to speak with you. And for all of you out there in listening land, if you're driving, doing the dishes, or anything like that where you can't close your eyes, obviously don't, but you can always breathe with us. So if you're in a position to slow down, I invite you to take a seat. Jeanene, for yourself and me, will close down our eyes and just sitting straight up, feeling your feet on the floor, and just taking this moment now to shift from the outer world into the inner world, and through your nose, slowly inhaling all the way up. And when you get to the top, sipping in a bit more air, and sighing it out, letting it go. Again, through the nose, inhaling all the way up and sipping in a bit more air at the top. And sighing it out, let it go, let it go. And one last one. Slowly inhaling as you let your belly and your back body expand and bring that breath all the way up, sipping in a bit more air at the top, and then just holding the breath here. You can even gently roll the eyes upward. And sighing it out. That's it. Letting your breath return to its natural state and rhythm. And here we are. Jeanene Badrow, welcome to the Soul Seeker podcast. Let's jump straight into this last name. You got 3 last names and you chose Badrow for this one. If you could not have a last name, you wouldn't. This is fascinating. Let's just start there.
I love starting there because people are always asking me, what's your last name? I see 3 different ones and I don't know which one to go with. I'm coming into my own and I'm realizing that I don't want my current husband's name, and I never legally changed it. I don't want my ex-husband's name, which I did legally change it to back in the day. So my kids grew up with that name. And here I am going, all right, those kids are grown. I don't want to be this husband's last name. So let's go back to Badrow. But my maiden name, but I don't identify with that name either. And I'm wondering, like, what do people do? You know, you spend your entire life married and you have this last name that's not yours. I don't even know why we did that in the first place. Why are women changing their name? We are who we are. Can we stay that way, married or not?
Yeah, well, I think maybe that's the thing where, you know, mothers wouldn't have the last name of the kids. And so that's maybe why they changed the name initially. I'm not sure.
Well, I have some family members who are in-laws who are straight off the boat from Italy. And they're like, you know, the U.S. is the only place that does that. We keep our names over there. Like, we are who we are. Yeah, I didn't know that either. Thank you.
Yeah. So in Italy, the women have children and the children take the father's last name and they keep their maiden name.
A lot of people over there, and now some over here in the U.S. are starting to do the same. They give the child both the last name. So there's no middle name. There's just both last names.
I didn't realize that, because I've seen the hyphenated, obviously. I've even seen like 3 hyphenated last names. So it's like, you know, if you, like, for example, if your kids had, what was the first name? Bono?
Come on, keep up. There's Bono, there's Troutman, and now it's Badrow.
Wait, no, this is fun. I love it. So if your kids, they are Bono, but if they were Bono hyphen Badrow, because that's yours, and then they have kids, and then they took on the spouse's name, then that's how there would be 3 hyphens.
3 hyphens. Yeah, that would be a lot of names.
2 hyphens, 3 names.
2 hyphens, 3 names.
Yeah.
But they would take my girlfriend had it right. She said, I'm going to hyphenate. I'm going to use my husband's name and I'm going to use my name, but my name's going to be last. So this way, no. She said, my name's going to be second. So this way they drop the last name and then use their spouses. So there's all these ideas, all this new way of doing it. And I think that's the point. Do something that feels right for you. Stop following society's rules. We don't have to follow these rules. Do what feels good to you. And I think that's what I'm coming into in this decade of my life. No, I'm me. I'm Jeanene. I might not identify with Badrow right now because I haven't used it since I'm 18, but that's who I am. So I just want to go back to my roots.
Yeah, this is so fascinating to me because this show is obviously called Soul Seeker, and your business has the word soul in it. What, minding your soul, is it?
Minding your soul.
Yeah, and we're going to talk all about it, but like getting to like identity and all of these things. Like when I did ayahuasca the first time back in 2019, I remember having this purge of my name, Sammy. I had so much like self hatred around my name, Sammy. One day in high school, I think I was a junior, I changed my name from Sammy to Sam, and I never looked back. And I have some people from back then or family members that call me Sammy, and like now I still feel a charge, like, you know, kind of a trigger, but it's much lighter. But in that ayahuasca ceremony 6 years ago, like I really purged out like all that former identity that I was holding on to, and really the shame and the self-hatred and all that. For you, when you look back at like your last name being Badrow and you haven't had that name since you were 18, is it that you haven't had that name for so long, or are there pieces of your family that kind of bring up some triggers and you don't identify, or what exactly is it for you? I'm curious.
Oh, that's a great question. We're going to dive into that. But before I do, I just want to say that my goal in life is to do ayahuasca. I can't wait to get to that point where I go somewhere and I can search my soul the way people come back from those experiences. I want to dive more into that later. Cool. But that's it. So in the last 10 years, I've been doing a lot of learning first about inner child work, what that meant, what that was. And everything that I learned in childhood, all of these experiences that I went through in childhood, I realized they were shaping me as an adult. Even though I didn't like the experiences, I didn't want them, I didn't agree with them, but they were shaping who I was as an adult. And the more I got into getting to know that little girl that's still inside of me, she's covered with like saggy skin and some wrinkles, but she's still in there. And the more I got to know her and remember her, the more I disassociated with the names of my husbands. There's so many, keep up. There's Troutman and there's Bono, and that's not me. And the more I got to know and like this little girl that still lives inside of me, and I celebrated her and just remembered what she was like and started being more like her, I think that's when it came to me. Wait a second. I'm Badrow. I am Jeanene Badrow. Yeah, there's a lot of hurt and pain there, but let's go explore that hurt and pain. Well, why is it still there? What am I holding on to? What am I not looking at? And I'm just remembering the pain. I think that's how it all started to evolve.
That's fascinating. So how do you feel about it now?
It's growing on me. And when you said going back and thinking about, when family members still call you Sammy, it triggers.
Even you saying it right now, I feel like exposed, Yeah.
So that is an opportunity. You should get excited about that, because when we go through our daily life, we're most of the time on autopilot. We never really get the opportunity to see what's driving our personality, what's in the subconscious. So now when I get triggered, like when somebody calls you Sammy and you're like, oh, I don't like that feeling, that's a great opportunity to go, wait a second, why does that bother me? What didn't I like about childhood? What were the stories that I told myself back then when I didn't have access to my logical brain? Back when I'm 12 years old and I'm thinking everything is my fault. And if I was only better, if I was only this, I would have this, I would receive this. That trigger is such a great awareness to work that still needs to get done.
100%. And that's the work I teach. And the reason why I teach that work is because I do it, right? and like you said in our pre-chats, or maybe the forum, like, even you healing from MS, like there's new layers. And I do want to kind of tie a bow on the name identity and shift into your journey with MS. Are we feeling pretty complete on the whole Troutman, Bono, Badrow thing, or do you want to be like Cher and just be Jeanene?
I like the Just Jeanene. Do you remember the Will and Grace show where there was just Jack?
I never watched Will and Grace.
Oh, I loved it. For all your listeners who know what I'm talking about, they know the Just Jack and they're doing it with their hands. I feel like I should just be just Jeanene. But then that leads me to, all right, well, what are you avoiding by being just Jeanene? Then that question comes up. So I'm comfortable as Jeanene Badrow. Let's go forward with that.
And see, this is the confusing part about your name, because your name is so hard to spell.
Because no one else in the world spells it that way.
Yeah, and for everyone listening, why don't you spell it out?
I've asked my mother this question. I'm like, Mom, what were you smoking? Why did you spell it this way? It's Jeanene. And my ex-husband used to joke, and sometimes why? Jeanene. The normal spelling is Jane. So my mother's like, I don't know. I thought it looked pretty, but it was the 70s and they were smoking everything. So who knows?
All right. So let's talk about MS, multiple sclerosis, right?
Sclerosis. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Sclerosis. What does sclerosis mean? I don't even know.
Sclerosis is the Latin word for scars.
Oh, okay. So what is MS for people like myself where they have an idea of it, or some people have maybe never even heard of it before? Like, what is MS?
So many people have never heard of it until they get diagnosed with it,
Mm.
unless you have maybe one memory of someone famous. Like for me, it was Annette Funicello. I remember seeing her in movies, and then all of a sudden she's in a wheelchair and her body is shaking, her voice is shaky, and all of a sudden she was gone. That was my only memory of MS. Now, if you go to Google and you read all about it, Google's going to tell you your body's attacking itself. It's a neurological degenerative disease where the body attacks itself, and you ultimately will end up in a wheelchair, not able to use your arms, legs, cognitive issues, all the neurological issues. That's Google. I have a slightly different definition.
Okay.
So back when I was diagnosed in 2004, of course, you run to the Google, and the Google tells you everything, how you should feel, what's going on, and what's going to happen. And then the doctor confirms your worst fears and nightmares and says, yep, that's going to happen. Yep, that could happen. That's most likely going to happen. And your brain is given this target to work towards. Well, and I bought into that, because why wouldn't I? Who the hell is Jeanene to argue with a neurologist? So, all right, this is what's happening to me. But I stuck my head in the sand for a really long time, and I said, I don't have time for this. And I only had a numb leg at the time, so I would use a cane and get myself around. But I knew I had to have my daughter. I only had one child at that time, my son, and the neurologist said, you need to get on medication right away. And I said, oh, no, I need to have another child. He's like, well, you can't. This medication is going to kill the fetus. I'm like, well, we need to have Julie. And my husband looks at me and goes, who's Julie? I go, yeah, no, she's our daughter. She's coming. So back in those days, I hurried up and I got pregnant. Well, what happened was she was 2 years old. I was left alone with her. And at that time, I was completely paralyzed in my arms and my legs. Could not move. I had to be carried everywhere.
Wait. This was after you gave birth? She was 2 years old, you said. Okay, got it.
Yeah, she was 2 years old by this time. So I just got progressively, worse and worse until I had no arms, no legs, and I had to be carried everywhere.
How was the pregnancy? Did it get worse during the pregnancy?
The people who are listening to this who know MS, your body takes care of you while you're pregnant. MS, any other kind of disease, while you're pregnant, your body takes care of you, and your symptoms are either gone or very much diminished.
Wow.
So it's amazing. The body is fascinating, and also the mind is fascinating, because you are now focused on this little ball of light that is growing inside of you. And what that does to your mindset affects your body in all the ways.
Okay.
So I was great during pregnancy, and it was 3 months after my pregnancy where doctor's like, listen, the neurologist, he's like, listen, your MS is active and it's next to your optic nerve, and you need to go on medication immediately or you're going to be blind, and then there's nothing we can do for you.
Wow.
Right? So when you hear that, of course you go, okay, sign me up, stick me with whatever you got. And so I went on the medication, which was a shot every other day in all different parts of your body, because you'd blow up with this huge, like, black and blue from the injection. So I was covered in black and blues. So fast forward, she's 2 years old. The medication just made me so much worse. And I didn't have the use of my arms and my legs. My poor husband at the time, he's like, listen, I got to go to 7-Eleven. I'll be right back. And I'm like, oh my God, don't leave me. She's 2. What if something happens? He's like, well, Jeanene, I'm going to 7-Eleven. It's down the block. I'll be right back. So of course, he doesn't even pull out of the driveway yet. And she gets up to show me a toy. And she trips on the area rug, hits her head on the coffee table. And any parent knows that ball that comes out of their head and immediately, and she's not even able to cry yet until she catches her breath. And so she's screaming. I'm trying to inch my way off the chair to get to her. It's a complete shit show. She finally gets over to me and she hugs my neck with her chubby little arms. We're both crying. My husband walks back in the house and goes, what the hell happened? And I lose my shit. I go, that's it. I'm done. I'm not fucking doing this anymore. And God did not give me these 2 beautiful children just to take away my ability to take care of them. I'm done. And I don't know what it was, but something snapped. And I said, I'm going to heal. And listen, I don't recommend this. So for anyone listening, do not do what I did. I stopped the medication immediately. I quit my job of 12 years that I absolutely loved. And I said, I'm going to find a way to heal. And so I'm looping this back to when you said, what is MS? I gave you the Google definition, what the neurologist is going to tell you it is. But there was a voice inside of me, and it was very loud in that moment, that said, your body's not attacking itself. Your body's not attacking itself. That's all I would get. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, all right, well, what could my body be attacking? What does the immune system attack? A virus, a bacteria, a fungus? So I started treating my body like it had all of those things. I did cleanse after cleanse. I went gluten-free because I read a book somewhere that helped somebody with MS. Mm-hmm. And little by little, I started seeing progress. And feelings started coming back. The brain fog started lifting. So I kept going and I kept going. And then I ran into neuro-linguistic programming and the power of the mind. And I went a deep dive into that.
Hey, it's Sam. Can I share something real quick that I think might actually help you? If you've ever felt overwhelmed by your emotions, like you're doing all the right things, yet you still feel off, it's not because you're broken. You know, most of us were never taught how to feel in a way that actually helps us heal. That's why I created Breath Club, a free community where I guide weekly breathwork sessions to help you regulate your nervous system, process emotions, and return to clarity. We use something called the 90-second reset, a simple, science-backed practice that shows how fast emotions shift when you allow yourself to feel them fully. You'll get access to live calls, a community, and on-demand breathwork exercises to reset anytime. No pressure, just an invitation to feel safe in your body again. Links in the show notes if you want to join us.
Fast forward now, so she fell 2008. 2015, the medical medium, Anthony William, released his first book titled The Medical Medium. Mm-hmm. And he said, MS is a virus. The virus is called Epstein-Barr. And I went, oh my God, he just named it. Now I have a target. Now I have a real target. So I would say I was healed about 70% by the time that book was released. Okay. And after reading the stuff in his book and putting together what I had already learned, I put together this entire protocol that took me to 100% symptom-free, 100%. And then from there, I just started reaching out to people going, I think I got something. I think this works. You want to try it?
That's amazing. So from the time from when you were in a wheelchair to when you made the bold decision, that moment with the 7-Eleven incident, to being healed 70%, how long was that duration, would you say?
2004, diagnosed. 2006, my daughter. When my daughter was born, 2006. 2008, she fell. I started.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Getting healthy. I started doing things, and then by 2015, I'd say 70% healed.
So 7 years.
Yeah, about that, roughly 7 years. I struggled in and out. I call it peaks and valleys now.
Right.
I struggled with the very deep valleys where I wouldn't have my legs for 3 months at a time. I'd lose my right arm. Right. But then I would come out of that valley. So relapsing remitting, they have a name for that stage of MS.
So from 70% to 100%, how long was that stage?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
Once I knew it was the Epstein-Barr virus, it was less than a year.
So timeline-wise, that was about 2016?
Yeah. 2015, he released the book. By 2016, yeah. I was about 100%. 2018, I met my now husband. And then in 2022, I had another baby.
Wait, is your husband now Troutman, or is that your second husband?
He's Troutman.
Oh, well then, okay. Well, I'm going to let that go, but yeah. Got it. Okay. So 2018 was when, sorry, I interjected there, but I forget where we were on the timeline.
So completely healed by 2016.
Right.
And then that's when life started getting pretty amazing. I met the love of my life in 2018, so 2 years later.
Yeah.
And then, he didn't have any kids, and I had a uterus. So we got pregnant.
Yeah.
And here I am at 47 years old with a 3-year-old, a
Wow.
23-year-old, and a 19-year-old.
That's amazing. Awesome. So it's been about 9 years since you've been 100% healed. And is this something like, has anything ever flared up at all in those 9 years?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Now, when symptoms used to flare up, I would go into this shame spiral of, it's never going to go away. What's wrong? I can't believe I did this. I'm never going to heal. Today, when symptoms come up, now understanding the power of the mind, when let's say my right foot, the toes on my right foot will begin to tingle. Usually, let's say 10 years ago, my toes would begin to tingle. That would scare the shit out of me. I'd start to freak out in my mind. Oh my God, it's back. What's going to happen? And then the tingling would lead to numbness, and it would continue all the way up my leg until my entire leg was numb. And then it would continue to the entire leg was useless. Today, when the toes tingle, that is my red flag. Mm-hmm. And I have to ask, Jeanene, what's going on? What are you not paying attention to? Mm. What are you not looking at? What are you sticking your head in the sand? And it didn't happen overnight. It takes practice, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of building a relationship with your body to understand how to translate the language of your body, because your body's always talking to you in the only way that it can, through sensation, pain, or pleasure. So a couple weeks ago, toes go completely numb in the shower, completely numb. And I go, what the fuck? What's your problem? That was my initial, what's your problem? What's going on? And I go, all right, Jeanene, bring it down. So I put my hands on my chest and I go, all right. And I'm looking at my toes going, what is it? What's the problem? What do you need from me right now? And I hear, you need to have that conversation with Kevin, my husband. Mm. And I go, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's your and I'm like, oh, bring it down. All right. If I promise to have that conversation, and right away, immediately, I didn't even finish that thought, the toes were back. Immediately, I could feel them. Everything was back. Every symptom that we have in our body is a way of the body telling you what it needs, what you're not looking at. Now, when you bring it back to, for anyone who's listening to this with any chronic illness, we all know that little voice inside of us that we didn't listen to for years. Jeanene, you need more. You need help. Jeanene, you can't do this. Jeanene, that's not right. That's not what you really want. And we ignore it, and we plow through, and we get our shit done. Then your body breaks down. The medical community blames it on the body. Oh, the body's attacking itself. And later on, hopefully you come across somebody who has learned the body's not broken. The body is now begging you for help, and now is refusing to move forward if it's not in the direction of your truth. Mm-hmm. So anytime I get a little red flag in my body, I immediately stop and say, all right, what do we need to do? What's the problem? Mm. And I listen for that voice, and it always steers me. It always steers me in the right direction.
Now, you help women specifically with MS, or anyone?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, women. I help women. I have worked with men in the past, but it's for some reason it's women. I know the language. I know what they need. I just don't resonate as easily with.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense a lot, because that makes sense. But the reason why I asked that question is like, do you see when you teach this to people, I guess gender regardless, that it's hard for them to develop that intuition and that connection to their body to hear the answer?
Well, with the exception of you, yes, most men, but not women.
Well, so how do you help people with that?
I ask them questions,
mm-hmm.
and I ask them specific questions, and When I tell them, put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and ask your body a question, and don't judge the answer, just tell me what the answer is. And when I ask them, did you hear this voice back in the day before symptoms even started? Did you hear a voice say, that's not what you want? That's not what you want to say. That's not what you want to do. That's not what you want. And the answer is always yes. And then I ask the next question. Did you not listen to it? And did you do something else? Did you do something that was expected of you? Did you do something to please the people around you? Did you do something because society or your religion told you that's what you should do? And 100% of the time, the answer is yes. The more we go against our truth, the more the body loses trust in us. And when the body loses complete trust, it shuts down. It's kind of like a toddler having a temper tantrum, going, I refuse to move. I will no longer move unless it is in the direction of what we want. Not what we should be doing, but what we need to be doing, what's going to fuel our soul.
Yeah, we all experience this in different degrees. And what's coming up for me is like, is there any research or any idea to why some people will get to the body fully shutting down on them and other people are still like not listening, but the body's not responding in that kind of way? Do we know anything there?
There's a lot of research on this, and I put it all together in an ebook. So we have the articles, and then we have the science behind it, and then we have our translation of it. It all comes down to the stories that we tell ourselves, because I've asked that question numerous times.
Right? Yeah.
I don't believe my husband or a lot of the people in my life, a lot of the people I come across in my world, they're not living, I don't think, that they're living with their truth.
Oh, yeah. And yet, the majority aren't. Yeah, for sure.
They don't even know what the hell I'm talking about when I say those words. As you should see the look on my husband's face. He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah,
totally.
And nothing happens to their body. They don't break down. The difference between a body breaking down and a body not, you can have two people experiencing the same amount of stressors, the stressors in their life, whatever they may be, the same amount. One person is telling themselves a story about it. The other person is saying, it is what it is. It's going to get better. What's the big deal? Now, when you think of, all right, Jeanene, the positive thinking, is that what you're telling us? Was that what you're telling everybody? There is science behind the positive thinking. So the story that we tell ourselves about the stress is what takes us down. It's not the stress. It's not the tree falling on the house after the hurricane. It's the story that you tell yourself.
That did happen with you.
This is why I use these examples. I use my own real life examples. When the tree falls on the house and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get out from under this. How am I going to survive? I have 2 kids. Or if you say, no way, motherfucker, this is not taking me down. I will find a way to fix this. There is an energy to those 2 thoughts, literally a frequency. And what science has found is that the frequency in which a signal leaves the brain and heads for a part of the body will determine whether that signal takes a detour or if it takes the path of least resistance. Now, when there's a path of least resistance already deep in our brain, a deep groove, and there is a blockage, a scar, which everybody in the world has scars on their brain, just not everybody gets MRIs. When that signal leaves with that low frequency, it's going to hit that scar and it's going to go, oh, I'm blocked. See, another blockage. I can't continue. I don't have the energy to keep going. When that same signal leaves the brain at a higher frequency of, I'll figure this shit out. This is not taking me down. I got this. That's a much higher frequency. So when it hits the scar, it goes, blockage. All right, what do we do now? Let's take the detour. And we'll always take the detour. It's called neuroplasticity. It's just a feature that comes with the brain. The brain is always going to find a detour around the block. But the signal will not always take the detour if it's not leaving the brain at a certain frequency. That's where the story that we tell ourselves about the stress is what takes us down, not the stress itself.
So in other words, that's super fascinating. And yeah, I love that. But to also think of it in like simple terms. If people just don't kind of care about it and they're just like, whatever, then it's not going to matter.
That's another frequency, because it's not releasing the cortisol in the body, because they're like, I don't care, whatever happens, happens. And that's an amazing characteristic or attribute of my husband. Whatever happens, we'll see, we'll all work out. That's a great frequency. And multiple sclerosis is they call it the disease of the women. It's a woman's disease.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, look that up.
Is this the Lou Gehrig disease too, or is that ALS? Right.
That's ALS.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the football player Dwight Clark, and I think that's ALS too. I don't.
You're probably thinking of Montel Williams, because he had multiple sclerosis,
Okay.
and he was one of the few men diagnosed.
Pause. You're holding your breath again, aren't you? You know, most high performers don't need more doing. They need a nervous system reset. I'm Sam Kaber, and I'm a keynote speaker and nervous system coach, helping people just like yourself to reset from burnout and return to clarity. I've worked with organizations and audiences ready to move beyond burnout and into embodying clarity. My keynotes blend storytelling, subconscious reprogramming, and live breathwork experiences that get people out of their heads and back into their lives. If you're planning a conference, retreat, or leadership event and want something that doesn't just inspire, but actually transforms, head to the link in the show notes. Let's make your next event unforgettable. So why is it a women's disease? Yeah.
Yeah, so think about it. Have you ever been in a relationship with a woman?
Yes, of course. So is it because they're more in touch with their bodies?
We are, no, because we need to get more in touch with our bodies. That is the problem. We tend to be the people pleasers. We tend to be the ones who have to wear the mask, raise the children, take care of ourselves, look pretty, hold a job, take care of the man, take care of the house. We do it all. And we're okay with that. We love doing it all, but we want to be acknowledged. We want to be validated. We want a teammates to do it with. And a lot of the women that I come across who have immobility issues, it's because they're alone. They're not vulnerable. They put on a mask. They're people pleasers. They do not have self-worth. They don't have any confidence. And they need to be brought up again and remember who they are and find their worth again. I think that's why it's a disease of the woman, because of our emotional capacity, the way we have been wired to nurture everyone around us. It's just, we were in the cave, nurturing the children, taking care of the neighbor cave's children. And where were you? You were out in the woods, single focused on the animal, because if you were not capable of being single focused on that animal, we would die. We need that food. So that was your responsibility. Our responsibility was gathering up all the food with the children on our backs and preparing the food. We're designed to nurture and feel, because as the divine woman, we have to feel to master all of the emotions that we then have to teach to our children so that they can continue to procreate the race. All of not all of them, but a lot of the emotions, a lot of the soft side from you, probably a lot came from either your mother or a female figure in your life, correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And was that female then taken care of and given a safe space to feel all of her emotions by a man in her life?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the job of the woman is to feel it all. And the job of the man is to create that safe environment for her to be able to feel it all. Validate her, support her. The job of the woman is to make that man feel like a king and give that education of all of those emotions for him. So we each have our jobs. You treat me like a queen, I treat you like a king, and you don't know where one ends and one begins. But that's why I think today, in today's society, we don't have that safe environment to feel all of those emotions. Most of us are alone in it. We're raising kids, we're bringing home the money, we're working full time, we're taking care of family members. And a lot of us don't have that male support, or even forget the heterosexual male female, just the support of another person to create that safe environment for us to be able to feel all of these emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in when we think about, we don't know where the body ends and the mind begins, and we're not supposed to know. It's this thing that works together. The being and the doing are a beautiful, happy dance. But we're never told how to take care of our bodies. We're told to set a goal and then make a task list and get it done and keep going and don't stop. And what happens is we lose ourselves. We lose connection with ourselves. And once that connection is severed, that's when the body will break down and we will be diagnosed with something.
Yeah, that resonates. Absolutely. I want to go back a little bit to, was it Epstein, you said, the book?
The Epstein Barr. That's the name of the virus. So the name of the book, the ebook, is MS Healing, the Epstein Barr Connection.
Got it. And then what's the name of your ebook? Or is that?
That's it. That's my ebook.
Okay. I definitely want to read yours. Is it print too, or just ebook?
It's just an ebook, and it's a compilation of all of the information that I've come across. So it's going to educate you on what the Epstein-Barr virus is, all the background information on it, and then it's going to give you in the last 2 chapters the mind and the body connection and how the frequency of the signal leaving your brain will either go to your toes or won't go to your toes, depending on whether it's a positive or negative frequency. And I give you the science behind that, the sodium channels, the potassium channels, everything needed to make the detour in the brain.
Sweet. So that's in the show notes. So check it out, guys. That's definitely something that I'm going to be reviewing for myself. Super interested in that. In regard to like how you went from this 70 to 100%, I thought it was maybe the Epstein Barr, maybe just giving it a name, but what was like that light bulb that what was that thing that helped you?
See, healing isn't linear, and I know we hear that all the time. So what does that mean? Well, healing happens not in, oh, I feel better. Oh, I feel much better. Oh, I feel totally better. It doesn't happen like that. It happens in these peaks and valleys where you go into a valley and then you come out of it and you feel great. And in order to hit the next peak, you have to go back into a valley, and that's how it works, the peaks and the valleys. So it wasn't one thing, but it was the not stopping being curious. I always wanted to know what makes me tick, what brings me joy. And I didn't even realize that was the key to the whole thing, is finding your joy. What makes my body move on some days and not move on other days? What's the pattern? I've always been very good at figuring out patterns. Back in my corporate life, I was the predictor of the pork bellies. I could know and predict when the pork bellies were going to go up, when the corn markets and ethanol markets were going to go up. And that really came from my mind always looking for patterns. So I never gave up being curious as to what my body was going through or why it was going through it. I wanted to master everything. So I would say the first 10 years of my healing was cleaning out my body, getting that virus out and fueling everything. And what was left was the numbness, some of the numbness, and my legs didn't move quite as good as I wanted them to. And I didn't even realize, I just kept focusing on the protocol and removing the virus. But looking back, now that hindsight is so clear, looking back, I was so focused on the mind and how the mind worked and what joy did, feeling joy did to my signals. And little by little, I felt, oh, when I don't listen to the shoulds and I do what I want to do, I feel amazing. When I am stuck in the, oh, I have to do this, I should do this, da, 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 I feel like crap and my body doesn't move. And I think that's when I started running towards joy. Now, we all have jobs, and some of us have kids, and some of us have great husbands, some of us don't have great husbands. You can't expect to say, I'm going to live a life of joy every day, all day. But what I teach people is you could always inject some joy into everything that you're doing. You could always inject it. So that's the key to healing 100%. The protocol is probably 80%. Clean out the body, get the body functioning the way it was meant to function. And then that last 20% is work on the mind and the thoughts and injecting joy into your life every day to raise the frequency of your signals so that they have the ability to go from your brain to your toes uninterrupted.
I love that. And you've seen the movie Inside Out, right?
Okay, so I've been trying to watch that movie. However, my 3-year-old, 5 minutes in, is always, he doesn't talk yet, so that's all I get.
Yeah.
He won't let me watch more than 5 minutes of it. We're working up to it.
Yeah. I was going to say, you give me that joy character energy. You have that energy of joy in Inside Out. So I could see that. So for people listening that either, they have MS, they know someone who has MS, what would be like the playbook to do? Is it feel notice the physical sensation, ask the question, and then inject joy into your life? Is that kind of the playbook?
I think that's hard to start with that. Whatever you feel is the right thing to start with, go ahead. But what I tell people is like, listen, when you can't walk and you're dragging your ass along the walls just trying to get to the bathroom, it's very hard to inject any kind of joy. So clean out the body first. Kill the Epstein Barr virus. 95% of people in the world have it, so it's likely that you do.
And how do they do that?
So there's a protocol. There's a number of ways to do it, but you just have to create an environment inside of your body that the virus can't live in. So we feed the virus every day. There are 4 things: gluten, dairy, eggs, and heavy metals. That's food for the virus. So when you eliminate those things from the body, all of a sudden the virus starts to weaken. And the reason why you want to weaken the virus is because that smart fucker is able to evade the immune system by putting out a smoke screen. Mm-hmm. So think of an octopus in the ocean. To get away from its predators, it inks, right? It floods the water around it with dark ink so its predators can't see it, giving the octopus time to swim away. Well, the Epstein-Barr virus puts out a smoke screen so that your immune system can't see it. It knows it's there, but it can't get to it to attack it. When you begin to starve it by removing its food sources, all of a sudden it starts to weaken and go, oh no, I can't do this. And it can't put out the smoke screen. And your immune system then can see it and go, hey, fucker, look at you. I got you. And it kills it. And then you work on getting your detox systems moving. So the lymphatic system, the excretory system with the lemon water and the celery juice so that you flush out that dead virus. Because the dead virus fucks us up too. It's a neurotoxin, it's a dermatoxin. So not only is the live virus bringing us down, the dead virus is. So there is a whole system. You got to get I call it the starve, kill, detox protocol because we're starving the virus, we're killing it with the immune system, and then we're detoxing it out of our body. Yeah, and as long as you have those 3 components, your body knows what to do. You just got to give it the tools in order to do what it already knows how to do, because you wouldn't ever go to your contractor and be like, listen, I need a house built, but you can't use any wood or nails, and I just need you to get it done. That's what you're doing to your body. I need you to kill a virus, but I'm not going to give you any tools to do so.
Starve, kill, detox. That's so good right there. I love that. And for people listening that want more support on that, we did a podcast with Megan Perkins. She's a regenerative health practitioner, and I introduced her to you. I think she's going to be speaking with your group, hopefully. Yes, but yeah, she's amazing.
Rebellion.
What's that?
Yeah, she's going to be in the MS Rebellion. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did her 7-day rainbow cleanse through Zen Cleanse, and it gets out the mucoid plaque and some other stuff as well, like gallstones and things like that.
All the shit that doesn't belong in there.
Yeah, and I was just speaking with her again recently, being like, I want to do another. But anyways, okay, so this is like phase 1, like starve, kill, Detox. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then what's phase 2? The intuition, listening to the body?
Yeah, and that naturally comes along. Once you give your body what it needs to start healing, that intuition naturally just gets louder and you're able to hear it and translate it. And the way that I work with people is I do it within communities, because I can give you all the information in the world, but you need to build your belief that the body can absolutely heal. And hearing it just from one person alone, no matter how true it is, you need to build the belief. So I work with communities of women, groups of women. I put together the MS Rebellion so that I have about 50 women in there building each other up, saying this worked, this didn't work. I injected joy this way. You should try this. And we have all these guest speakers every month coming in there, just bringing us more joy as we work through the Starve, Kill, Detox protocol. So I call it hot guy energy. When you're healing your body, you got to bring your hot guy energy. You would never go up to a hot guy in the coffee shop and be like, hey, you're hot. You want to go out? I'm free Saturday night. What do you think? You want my phone number? No, the guy's going to run in the opposite direction. What you're going to do is you're going to go sit over in the corner with your girlfriend and you're going to have a grand old time laughing your ass off. He's going to notice you, and what's going to happen? He's going to come over to you and be like, hey, what's your name? That's exactly how the universe works. If you're in a place where you're going, I got to heal, I got to heal, I got to heal. The universe is like, oh, God, needy energy. Ew, right? What you got to do is do your healing, do your protocol, and have some freaking fun in life. Raise that frequency. Healing's going to happen no matter what. And that's where the belief in your body to heal has to come from. My body's going to heal no matter what. I'm going to go out and have a good time. Sure, I can't use my legs right now, but what can I do? What can I do to either get out of the house or have some fun while I'm in the house? And that's what we practice in the MS Rebellion, because we are rebelling against what the medical community has told us.
That is awesome. I love all of that. It's so cool. I have another question. Like I went paddleboarding recently with my dad, and he mentioned the next day how his fingers were numb. And sometimes that happens, like his fingers get numb, and maybe it's arthritis. I'm not sure. But can we apply everything that you just taught us to pretty much any physical sensation in our body, right?
That's the beauty of this. I talk about multiple sclerosis because that's where I came from. That was my journey. But the Starve, Kill, Detox and the concept of joy and rerouting your signals is just human design. You clean out the body and you give it the ability to do what it knows how to do. It's going to heal from anything, you know, and we're stuck with this belief of the body needs what we don't have in order to heal. And I think that's where the medical community comes in. If you're alive, your body is always healing, always. So this protocol is going to heal the body. The symptoms are just given its name for the collection of symptoms that you bring to the doctor. Whatever collection of symptoms you bring to the doctor is going to say, oh, we have a name for that. Here it is, right? But everything, every symptom, no matter what its label is a way of your body saying, I need help. I need more of this. And it's your job to learn how to translate it. Go seek out the information from people who've learned how to translate it. Learn how to understand what your body is telling you that it needs and give it to it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. This is such a fun podcast and just so informative. And I'm sure we're going to do this again and go deeper on other subjects. Jeanene, this is awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. What is the best way that people can get in touch with you?
I got to keep it simple. I'm not great with technology. So it's one website, it's one button. That's it. You get on my calendar. So mindingyoursoul.com, and you just scroll down to the bottom. It says discovery call. Click on it. It's free. You get on my calendar and walk through the whole thing. And I don't like being sold to. I don't like pitches. I just want to talk to somebody and pick their brain. So that's what this is. Like, get on my calendar and let's have a conversation. And there are people who have had one call with me. We changed the entire trajectory of their healing, and they went off and they healed their body. And that was from one free phone call.
Wow.
That's all it takes sometimes, is one shift in just a little bit of a different direction. So mindingyoursoul.com, book a discovery call. Let's have a conversation and see where it takes us.
Awesome. Links in the show notes, mindingyoursoul.com. We'll put the book, the ebook in there as well. If you guys want to go deeper, definitely reach out to Jeanene. We'll have you back again. Jeanene, thanks so much.
Thank you, Sam. This was great.
Thanks so much for listening to the very end. I hope you enjoyed this episode just as much as I did. To go deeper, make sure you join our Breath Club to inquire about one-on-one coaching or bring me in to speak at your next event. Make sure you check the show notes for all my contact information. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you on the next episode of the Soul Seeker podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the very end. I hope you dug this podcast just as much as I enjoyed it. If you got anything at all, please, if you could just do me a favor and leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to this podcast, it helps the show grow. So thank you for considering to leave a review. If you want to go deeper with Soltara or Elan, you can find the links to connect with them in the show notes. And if you want to work with me, the best way to work with me, the easiest way to work with me is the free way, and that's by joining the Breath Club. The link to the Breath Club is in the show notes. And also know that I'm available for one-on-one support, that is coaching and guidance, as well as keynotes and breathwork journeys for conferences and events. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode of The Soul Seeker.